Hi everyone, this is Lina is not a noob with a new Nerdy Rant. Today we will be discussing the theory, rumour, going around that one of the Avengers is going to die in or before the next Avengers movie. Please note, this video contains huge spoilers to the comics, as well as a lot of conjecture about the future Marvel movies. If you've seen my last video, the Winter Soldier discussion, you might remember that I mentioned several times that they seem to be collecting all the characters that were involved in the death of one of the Avengers. If you don't want to know who it was and what happened, please stop the video here. Now that that is out of the way, the character's death I'm referring to is, of course, Captain America's. As you may have already seen, there are a lot of rumours going around that one of the Avengers is going to die in, or possibly before, Avengers 2. This is a fairly random, and most likely incorrect theory, and it's mostly formed around that rumour. So first, the background to the theory from the comics. Basically, in the comics the US government decides that all superheroes need to be registered. If you've seen the X-Men series, this will probably sound familiar, and if you've been paying attention to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you may notice that this is already partially in effect. This causes a rift amongst the Avengers, which leads to the storyline known as Civil War, where the heroes of Marvel split into two groups, pro-registration, led by Iron Man, and the anti-registration, led by Captain America. Basically, there are a whole bunch of fights, and just about all the heroes, and several of the villains to the Marvel Universe, get involved. The pro-registration side ultimately wins when Captain America, dismayed at the bloodshed, surrenders and is taken into custody. This leads to Captain America being assassinated by Crossbones acting on Red Skull's orders, and Sharon Carter, who had been hypnotized and brainwashed by Dr. Faustus. Iron Man and Black Widow set out to find the people responsible, as does Falcon. Winter Soldier goes after Iron Man, convinced that it was his fault, but eventually Iron Man shows him a letter from Steve Rogers, which said that there always had to be a Captain America. The former Winter Soldier then takes on the role. About a year later, the discovery was made that Captain America didn't die, but he was sent back in time. He eventually returns to the modern time and his rebellion is pardoned. Bucky, however, keeps the title of Captain America until Siege happens, and Steve Rogers takes on a new superhero persona. But, after Bucky has an apparently dead moment of his own, they resume their original roles of Captain America and Winter Soldier, who now fights on the side of good. So far, the MCU has made mention of most of the main players in that particular storyline, and the Registration Act already has its foundations. So far, the only character that plays a large part in his death that hasn't appeared or been mentioned is Dr. Faustus. And let's be honest, if they can ignore Ant-Man in the Ultron storyline, they can probably ignore Faustus in this one. So what's your theory? Do you think it'll be Captain America or someone else? Do you think that they won't actually get rid of anyone? Or possibly wait for a later movie for that storyline? As always, if you have any questions, comments, feedback or suggestions for future topics, please leave a comment below.